Today in the crypto space, we see the market still going sideways. Bitcoin right around $96,000, Ethereum right around 2,600, and the rest of the crypto space very indecisive. Are we going up or are we going down? Caspa coming up to a higher level. We got BGB, Tau, Celestia, and a few others dripping to lower levels. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is part of a bullish narrative that is heating up, and that project is called PancakeSwap. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market, because of course this chop is driving me nuts, and I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way. We see the total market cap, teetering around 3.2 trillion dollars, bouncing around there in that level. You can see it's a very ranging type of scenario for the market cap. We want to see higher highs and higher lows. The market is not giving it to us. We see that the trading volume is looking okay. At least we're in an upwards trend, but big picture, there's still not enough trading volume in this market. We're seeing rotation. We're seeing a lot of buying and selling. We've seen a little bit of trading action, of course, within ranges, but no real fresh capital coming in. No real higher highs or higher lows in any of these charts in the last little while. And we can see that BNB is part of the bigger narrative in the last 48 hours or so. If you've been missing out on my live streams, we've been talking about BNB, and the way has been heating up based on the announcement that BNB is going to be getting an upgrade this year. And the question is BNB going to lead a potential altcoin season? And, 2 nights ago, we had the whole conversation, and of course, the conversation was part of the narrative is looking at BNB DeFi or Binance Chain DeFi. Now, DeFi, of course, if you're an OG in this space, you guys remember the days of PancakeSwap, and I remember that it was a great time. Obviously, it was like the OG place for meme coins and all of that. And, and during those days, I was using PancakeSwap, and I still have Cake staked up on the PancakeSwap website and DEX. And obviously, these are still opportunities, but the bigger opportunity is to see a full recovery, for PancakeSwap. So PancakeSwap right now is trading at right around $2 or so, give or take, depending on the day. And obviously, to reclaim its previous price action, it could do a pretty good job making some good gains. BNB has been a great performer for this bear market, bull run, whatever you want to call it. It's been doing great. In fact, I would say that it's outperforming a lot of these projects and keeping up with Bitcoin and all the rest, given the fact that BNB is trading at almost $700, $670 to be exact. And, even though it's down 4% today, it doesn't matter. It's been running up significantly in the last little while as a large cap. We have to understand, right? It's a 80 billion, almost $100 billion market cap project, and it's moving in the last little while much better than even some of these smaller caps. This is because of the announcement from CZ. CZ is saying that BNB is going to get a major upgrade, of course, speed, transaction, no gas, right? No gas fees. That's bullish. And dabbling into other narratives, DeSci was mentioned and all of this. So we know that right now CZ is not really involved in the Binance ecosystem as, a CEO or any sort, but he's definitely there, as a crypto degen trying to figure out where the next trends are, and he's definitely leading us in a bit of a direction, and the market lately has been reacting to it. So this is how it goes, guys, narrative to narrative. However, without a total market cap that's increasing, all we are doing is shifting capital from one narrative to the next. And right now, many are speculating on the fact that it could be a BNB season. We have been doing well in the last 48 hours. That's great, but I think that we could get a little bit more into the BNB season as it's just waking up right now. So I wouldn't be totally bearish on BNB at the current moment. If you're going to be trading, you know, up and down lower time frames, yes, like today, 4.2% to the downside, that's definitely profit taking. But if we do get a BNB season, I think the perspective is that we should be leveraging on you know, plays that are on the BNB chain, or the you know, within the BNB ecosystem, and looking at DeFi. And this is why we're going to talk about PancakeSwap today. All right, guys, let's continue down and see what's going on here. As you look at the 1 hour fractals, I'm going to quickly scrape through the market today. You can see that it's fairly neutral and a tad to the bearish side. Okay, you see a little bit of dips. I would say an average of about 2%, give or take. Bitget token is taking a bigger hit than expected. It's down approximately 10.4%. You know, there's something happening there, which, you know, I'm not crazy about to see an exchange token fall so hard and so quick. But as long as the others are doing the same thing, you can, you know, kind of be, you know, left assured that everything's okay. We have Uniswap grinding to the upside and many others. Let's see Ondo, a little bit of a dip, 4.2%. I know a lot of people are bullish on Ondo, but again, if it breaks below these lows, guys, this range is so critical for Ondo because it has a massive volume gap below that can cause the Ondo price to fall a little bit, and then I'm interested. I'll be buying the dip heavy on Ondo. I've been preparing for an Ondo dip. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, no worries. I already have a decent bag accumulated that I bought earlier on, so I'm happy about that if it pumps. And when you're in a spot where you don't mind if it dips or it runs, you know, it means that you're in a good spot. It's a good spot to be in where you don't mind if it goes up or down. Okay, guys, so consider that. If you get overly emotional on a dip or overly emotional on a pump, that means you just have too much exposure, right, to risk, and maybe too much exposure altogether, and de-risking and reducing that exposure should be your priority. Okay, emotions are a good indication of positions being over in position size. Okay, Near Protocol is looking okay. It's looking okay, although it's pretty sideways, kind of like what it's doing right now, at least grinding upwards. And you can see a lot of projects are actually, we have Gate doing pretty good, you know, grinding upwards. We have BitTensor doing still good despite the 9% dip. Just keep in mind it's still in an uptrend. Maybe we do come down a little bit more before we continue. We have Caspa waking up today approximately 6%. That's hot. I like that. I like to see Algorand also doing okay here, holding up steady. We want steady price action at least. Render coming down but still holding steady, not too bad. So a lot of these projects are holding steady. As we can see, a lot of them are still holding steady. Some of them are still making higher highs, and some of them are still making higher lows, which is something that we want to see in the immediate short term. So don't get fooled by a 2% dip. The reality is we're still okay here. We're still okay, and we're still fighting for a rounded bottom, because if you kind of zoom out on all of this, a lot of these projects are got a V recovery from that previous dip, that previous fallout, pretty much, and then it came down for retracement and forming a nice rounded bottom of support. So this little fractal right here is just a portion of that potential roundedness that we're getting for a bounce to the upside. Okay, guys, so you know, DCA, these are good. Red days are good for DCAing. Today's not necessarily a red day, but we have been getting a lot of red days in the last little while. So overall price at the current moment is still in a good place to DCA. All right, guys, so let's talk about charts. I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's begin our analysis looking at Bitcoin. What does Bitcoin have in store for us in the next little while? We need to pay attention to that, because ultimately, if Bitcoin looks strong, the rest of the market will also. If Bitcoin breaks down here, we're going to expect further dips throughout the market. All right, guys, let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So as I've been mentioning the last little while, it's this thick white line that I'm paying attention to, because of course that's the structure. That's the structure, and it's not even a daily structure, although it's starting to look like we have to pay attention to it on a daily time frame, because as it builds the structure, it gets larger and it starts to make sense to focus on the daily. But really, the way it looks right now, it may be something that we need to focus on the 4 hour. But before we get on the 4 hour, I want to see what's going on here with momentum. It is a slow grind to the downside. And that's an ugly feeling. Why? Because it's like we get impatient. We just want to trade. We want to get active. We want to see pumps. You know, we want to have a clear direction. If it's short, it's short. Fine. Give us the clarity. The momentum is definitely in a downtrend, stemming from all the way down here. You can see the price action at least is neutralizing the downwards momentum. Obviously, by going sideways in price action, it's actually very good. It's a sign of bullishness when, you know, a chart is defying the negativity by at least going sideways. It's basically neutralizing the negativity. That's good. Now, if we kind of zoom in here, you can see that the risk we take going long at the current moment is that we get oversold, and I'm entertaining that. I'm not going to exclude it from my overall strategy here, because if I get overly bullish here and all of a sudden we get the follow through to the downside, guys, we're going to get wrecked. So if you get into any long positions on any time frame, just understand the daily's not really in your favor until we start moving to the upside and breaking these highs and confirming to the fact that we're making a higher high and getting overbought again. Look at this expansion. It's still full force to the downside. It's not really giving us any roundedness, suggesting that we're going to taper in. The volatility is oversold. I get it, and it could stay there for a little good while until we see the momentum get completely oversold. It has happened in the past where a volatility just hangs out and waits. Maybe it gets a pop, but then it comes back down and it waits until the purple line gets oversold. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. I know it's tempting to get super bullish right now, given the fact that we're in a great time to accumulate, but accumulation doesn't mean reversal. Accumulation means slowly ladder in at horizontal levels, at little levels where you see possible supports. Get in with 10%, get in with 20%, 20% maximum. What you really want to do is see a structural change, and the only place that I feel confident right now looking for that structural change is on the 4-hour, if we get it. And I'll show you what I mean. You can see that this structure could be where we start bouncing to the upside. I would have liked to see this be a little bit more rounded, which is still could be possible if we start moving to the upside, making a higher high, come down for a higher low, and we start forming a nice rounded bottom after this V recovery. And keep in mind, this fractal that you look at right here is pretty much market wide. A lot of projects are having this printed this V recovery in a rounded bottom. Some of the charts already, the rounded bottom is already looking for a breakout at the previous high. So you got to keep an eye that Bitcoin didn't even get there yet. Bitcoin is not even looking for a breakout. In fact, Bitcoin is still struggling for support on this thick white line right around 95K, more or less, right? So 95K, 95,300, more or less. And you can see that the volatility and the momentum is in the chop zone, guys. It's not really doing anything. This is boring. This is choppy, whipsaw price action, straight up, straight down. Everybody's getting wrecked if you're trading right now, you know, up and down, longs and shorts, everybody's getting wrecked. If you can trade the range successfully, congrats. You got to get on the 5-minute and trade the range all day long if you can do that, right? And that's great. For me, I'm a momentum trader. I want to see momentum in a clear direction before I start getting into any trades, because trading this way is very, very not only difficult, but it's time consuming. And if it could be rewarding, but it's got to be worth your time. And for me, it's not worth my time to trade this tight range like this. We can see that the EMAs are a little bit indecisive, but at least the news is that we can see a bit of an uptrend. We want to get into the bullish control zone, but look at all this indecision, up and down, no clear direction like this would be. Okay, no clear direction like that would be, right? All of this is choppy, indecisive, and craziness, right? So look, if you're one of those individuals that have decided not to trade this zone, that's totally fine, guys. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade every chart. You don't have to trade every little pump. You can wait for a clear direction. And as of now, we're not getting it. Okay, so with that being said, you know, Bitcoin is showing a horizontal structural support right here. And as long as Bitcoin holds this level and maybe Bitcoin bounces again, maybe gets back to the top of the range at, again, 98,300, 98,200 and change. Guys, if we get back to that top of the range, we could see a bit of an altcoin pump, a little bit of a reaction to the upside, bullishness, total market cap, all that good stuff. All right, guys, so let's keep that in mind. Now let's jump right into the PancakeSwap, the cake chart. And you can see that in the last little while, Cake has been doing really good. It's all about the trading volume. Binance chain has been doing really good with regards to trading volume. You know, the tweet by CZ really did spark a bit of interest. The chart on the BNB chart is looking great. Still lots of strength. People might say, you know, it's right now really hot. Its market cap is too high. I understand that, but at least you're buying into strength. At least you're buying a project that most likely won't dip that hard. It hasn't dipped that hard for a good while. It's been showing a lot of stability. And the reality is, you know, the Binance exchange has been really actively burning and getting trying to keep the Binance chart or price afloat, which is good. It's always good to have that scenario, right? So what do we say about Cake? If you're an OG in this space, you remember Cake. very, very well. The days of where you had a lot of meme coins, a lot of pump and dumps and rug pulls and all of that as well. A lot of people don't know of this, but PancakeSwap was the OG, and Bakery Swap and all of that. And those were great days. Those were the beginning of a lot of these let's call them low cap potential plays, the lottery tickets that you could buy. However, it was never as much of an influence or the amount of volume that we have like on Solana. The thing is that right now, if we see a resurgence on BNB, the main DEX is PancakeSwap. Now, Cake is EVM compatible, so you can also trade Ethereum based projects. Doesn't mean that you're going to get low gas fees. What it means that you have access to EVM, which is great. And obviously you can get Binance trading on Uniswap, which is also great. So the pressure that Cake has now is that Cake is competing with other EVM dexes. So it's a little bit different than in the previous cycle when Cake was the only dex that handled BNB, Binance Smart Chain projects, right? So in this case, you're basically, it's sharing its business model with others, and potential, a scenario where other chains, other dexes could take some of its volume. Ultimately, a lot of OGs think of Cake as a Binance DEX, and I think that it could do very well given Binance doing very well also. So let's take a look at what's been happening here in the last little while. You can see that it's been going sideways here at about $2, give or take, depending on the day, right? It's a low cap, so it's going to have a lot of volatility, and it's been holding this level very nicely. I bought back some of my Cake right into this level, and I've been holding and patiently waiting. Now, a lot of OGs are probably still staking. I am still staking Cake on the PancakeSwap DEX since the previous cycle. I've been staking it up. I'm not touching it. I haven't touched it. Now, of course, I'm a trader, guys, so I buy and sell also. So for me, staking up and leaving it there long term, number one, obviously, it could have been, in hindsight, a wrong idea. But the reality is it's okay, because really, I only stake what I'm willing to lose, because also we don't know what happens to some of these plays. They could go obsolete in the next cycle. But I'm glad to see that Cake is still alive and still doing very well, and Binance Chain is doing very, very well. So what we have to think of is, could Cake make a comeback? That is the bigger picture idea here. Could Cake make a full comeback where we start to see it expand out of this range? The idea here is to see, is this a accumulation range or a distribution range? And sometimes what we really want to see is slightly higher highs and higher lows. That would be great to see. We can see a lot of trading volume right into this zone, right into smack into this area. We see a lot of trading volume. Point of control is down here. We're seeing a little bit of a rounded bottom. We got a spike and a rejection here perfectly. The TA worked beautifully at $5. We got that rejection, and then we came back perfectly to the accumulation range once again. And now, if you accumulated here, you're in a good spot. Why? Because the reality is it's very likely that if we do break out and we see the Binance ecosystem flourish, this thing is at the bottom. That's the reality. Now, of course, we have to have our invalidation. We'll quickly put that in there. What does that mean? That means that if we break below this bottom, it's done. It's done, guys. But if it hasn't done that so far, through an entire bear market, throughout CZ is history, let's put it that way. We're not going to hash that out again. But through all that CZ and Binance been through, and it hasn't dropped further, guys, we're doing okay, I think. I think that the majority of the sell pressure is done here for PancakeSwap. So in that case, it's almost like only upside potential is here or sideways. So in this case, I like to call this a great punt opportunity. The opportunity is this: at least if we go sideways, you're in a stable coin. Let's put it that way. It might go sideways for a little while, or continue for a good while until a real active floor price is achieved, where we see good accumulation and the market sees the potential that it will not fall lower. It's almost there, guys. You got to admit, it looks pretty good as it's sideways right here. So stability is number one when we hit a floor price. Secondly, the opportunity to get a massive pump. And that's why I call it a punt, because at least it goes sideways with the possibility of a massive pump. So buying here in the last little while would have kept you very stable right around $2, give or take, which is a good opportunity to at least give you that edge for a potential pump. Now, again, let's do a measurement. Let's quickly look. Resistance, like right now, resistance is still $5. You're still up 100%. You could take half on the double right here and still be within range. It's still within trading range, guys. And you're still up literally 99.04%. Now, if it comes down for a bit more of a dip, you can buy a little bit more and understand that you're buying into a potential floor price with good volume and a good accumulation. Now, let's take a look at some of these oscillators here. You can see that in the last little while, based on the bullishness on Binance and all of that, and CZ's dog and all of that, you know, obviously it brings a lot of eyes on board. I feel like a mean reversion play could be obviously be expected here. The momentum is way overextended too quickly, which means that the purple line and the yellow line need to meet up again. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get more of a pullback and come down to about $2.14 to look for support at this liquidity zone, at this order block right here. Point of control is there as well. So we got a little bit of support there. So I can see a pullback, especially with this quick blow off, the way we've seen it right here with this wick. It does suggest that we could come down. However, we didn't get overbought. We didn't get overbought yet, so the potential of a continuation is still there. Let me zoom in here so you can see what I mean. The momentum did not get overbought. So in the short term, maybe a pullback, and then a continuation is very likely to start seeing this reverse. Now, you can see the expansion is still very bearish. It's lagging. It's lagging. It's not considering the fact that we have gotten some bullish news out of the Binance ecosystem in the last little while. So we got to give it some time. So in the meantime, what I would do is drop to lower time frames. But before we do that, look at this. EMA is facing up, green histogram bars to the upside. We have the expansions of getting multiple drives of bullish divergence, which is looking good. We're almost in the bullish control zone, which is also good. So a bit of a pullback here to look for support would be optimal, obviously, as a confirmation low, a higher low, and then we can kind of see a reset of momentum on lower time frames, such as the 4-hour. And we can see that's happening as we speak. This little pullback is kind of, you know, pushing into support and looking for that support. We have the volatility coming down to oversold conditions. It's already there. Do we hesitate here a little bit, or do we get another reversal and get overbought again? This is the thing here. When projects are super bullish, this is usually what happens. And I'm going to entertain a possible entry here in a second, okay? Because volatility right now is oversold and we could get overbought again, even if it is a class A bearish divergence. What I mean is, even if the price gets a bounce right here and goes for another higher high, what about a lower high on the momentum? Let me just kind of paint that in here. This would be a class A bearish divergence, but who cares? We went up for a higher high. And that's what's interesting. We could even invalidate the bearish divergence eventually from the chop zone and go for another higher high. When we see the momentum, when we see buzz, when we see, you know, market participation, we see volume. As you can see, volume has been increasing. There's a good chance that we get a continuation, especially during times of rotating capital at $3 trillion market cap, total market cap. Where else is the capital going to go where we can see potential? Where is the potential right now? Where's the buzz at? And that's where everybody's going to flock to, because there's no other place at the current moment other than looking at what's buzzing. And Binance is the one that's buzzing. So I expect a continuation up in the next little while. Don't hold it for too long, but you can definitely trade ranges. Okay, so I do expect the momentum to fall a little bit based on the daily mean reversion. I do expect the 4-hour to maybe find some support in the chop zone. That's very possible. I also expect a maybe a fake out here on the trend oscillator, maybe getting closer to a red histogram bar and then maybe getting the fake out, or even dipping down a little bit and then continuing to the upside. I'm open to the idea that this might not dip too heavily just yet, okay? And the reason being is this, okay? It's just pure supply and demand and support levels, okay? The support that we have right here could be really good. Now, I'm just going to quickly kind of isolate some of this price action, get the volume profile looking just at what's happening here. You can see that there's an empty space, right? This emptiness right here is pretty much a volume gap that could allow the price to fall right through and maybe hit $2.25. Right here is also a good level for support. You can see clearly based on a little bit of volume here, but if you exclude that price action, you can see that really there's not much support right within this emptiness. So if we do break below this level, we could definitely fall, and the next level is at about $2. Yeah, I would say $2, a nice psychological round number, very close to the point of control. Maybe we hold some support and we get a reversal. But again, this level right here is pretty good. If we I rarely get into the 1 hour, but you can probably look for an entry here on the 1 hour, as volatility might be getting some support here, and the momentum may be getting support here on the chop zone. So what I'm looking for is a structure to maybe find an entry for another higher high. And based on the momentum that we got here, we could go for another higher high. If we do not make a higher high and it's just a dead cat bounce right into here, guys, take profit, walk away, trail up a stop loss, put yourself at break even, do what you got to do to defend yourself. But if we hold this level, it's looking good. Volume gap, emptiness, exit. So let me put a red box in here, typical language on my charts, which is, you know, identifying weak spot. This is definitely a weak spot. Okay, if you fall right through, you want to get out, because the next level, like I said, are these tops, and we might look and hunt some liquidity at that level, and we could expect you know, some of those stop hunts and some of those liquidity grabs right here. But the reality is, this is a great level to pay attention to. If we get a pivot, we go for another higher high, you can put a stop loss clearly on invalidation, which would be a invalidation below these lows, and we have a 50 EMA on the 1 hour that could act as also support, which is not bad. And this is how you come up with the setup. Again, the risk you take getting in long is that the momentum gets oversold. But the way things are positioned right now, the way volatility is, and the mind share right now that BNB offers, we can get a quick bounce to the upside. Okay, keep that in mind. Another thing that I'm worried about from a bearish scenario is these EMAs and red histogram bars right now, they're pushing down, which means that I see negative pressure still on PancakeSwap. But again, could we neutralize all of that and eventually hold support again right around $2.60? Guys, it would be really good to see a bounce, but again, we're talking about smaller market cap, we're talking about lots of volatility, we're talking about a price that is really at the bottom of the range. And big picture, just do big picture, let's actually get on the 4 days so you can see big picture. Guys, what about if it does a full round trip back to where it came from, to its peaks, to about $40? Guys, that would be absolutely insanity. Right now it's trading at $2.60 and reclaiming its previous price action, or even modestly speaking, getting back to $27. Guys, you've done very, very well for yourself just reclaiming some of this price action. Okay, guys, so PancakeSwap could be it. Look at the trading volume, look at the action in the last little while. It could be a good signal that the Binance ecosystem is on its way up. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.